Hey guys, it is Rachel Feldman, and you are at the Healthy Hustle podcast. I am so pumped to be here with Micheal because Micheal is a health coach who is straight up going to tell you what it took for him to build his business, what it took for him to not be in the constant struggle and to build his business, the one that he has today, really helping people online through the power of working with people one-on-one, all that great stuff on pain management. So Micheal, I'm so excited to have you here today.
Yes, I'm definitely very excited to be here. This has been a long time coming.
I know. And even when I was, in that moment before we started pre-recording, I'm like, I remember your videos on the rooftop. Like when I think about coaches making a stamp, I always say to people, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be memorable. And when I think about your videos there, I always remember them. Like on the rooftop, you doing exercises and just showing people simple strategies.
Yeah, that's it.
So tell everyone who's listening, just tell us a little about your business today.
Okay, well, my name is Micheal Jones. My business is Pain-Free Me. I help people to improve their posture, increase mobility, and most importantly, get them out of pain. I do this by using, corrective exercises and mobility to, like I said, to just get them in a better place and get their body back into balance.
So even as you were sitting there, I'm like, oh my goodness, I better be sitting up tall right now.
Where's that posture at? Where is that posture at? Forward tight, shoulders back.
I know. I was like, okay, sit, Rachel, sit properly. I would love, even before we dive into some, what I call like the raunchy behind the scenes, like the SVU, the heinous things that no one talks about. Tell us, like, how did you niche down to this area? Because I know for a lot of coaches, we stop and we don't go forward in our business because we don't know who we are serving.
Where I niched down, like I said, it wasn't overnight. It was a lot of throwing spaghetti on the wall and seeing what would stick. But I really found, like I said, throwing that spaghetti on the wall, I found the real message that resonated with, my audience. And it was mostly with the stretching and the posture and, just helping people feel good again. Because again, we're out there, we're in a lot of pain. We sit in front of the computer for hours on end, weakening our core, slumping our forward rolled shoulders, and we're just not feeling good. So I just remember just like putting these little, hey, when you're at work, try to eat this. It'll give you a little bit more energy. Or, hey, remember to stand up every hour and, touch your toes. And just the comments started coming. I'm like, okay, no one ever commented on anything else I posted before, so I guess this is good. So I just kept going with it, and then the emails started, the direct messages started, and then the questions, hey, what do you do? How can you help me? So I was like, okay, I think we got something here. So that's when I really just went full force, with saying building the Pain-Free Me brand and just letting people know that there is help out there, no matter if you're like an elite athlete dealing with, low back pain, or you're just the average, deskbound warrior who's dealing with carpal tunnel. There is something out there to help, and I'm here to help you.
Yeah. Let me just applaud you, because when people always say, oh, how do I understand copywriting? Or how do I understand how to message with my brand? Even just you saying that, you helped me in just that quick snap of those words, like warrior. Like I was like, oh my God, I guess I'm a warrior at desk. It's like even you by making these really great phrases and lightening it up. I love that you were like, we all are in pain. It was just so seamlessly came out of your mouth. Tell like everyone who's listening, because I know I thought, okay, throwing spaghetti against the wall. So what were you doing that wasn't working?
Oh, it was a lot I was doing that wasn't working. Let's say that.
You're like, Rach, seriously, is this a 24-hour podcast?
Right.
Yeah.
This, copying other coaches' formula, that works for them, but that necessarily does not work for you. And I'm just seeing this one coach over here is crushing it. They're killing it, the likes, the sales. I'm like, oh, I want to do what they're doing. And I did it, just totally bomb. That wasn't me. It just did not resonate with my audience. And then like I said, you keep trying, throwing that spaghetti against the wall and really getting to know what you're passionate about. I wasn't necessarily passionate, even though I love to do, detox, I do it regularly, but it wasn't like my passion. And I was trying to promote detox.
Yeah.
And people, and I wasn't as passionate, but, pain is my passion. I've been
working. See, there you go. Somebody's like, snap, seriously. But I know when I was at that infancy, and I love that we're talking about that struggle, because even before you and I started recording, we were talking about just how often we are sold this, well, blah, blah, blah had 560 signups for this program. And I know even when somebody buys a done-for-you program, I always say, you are your funnel though. You are your program. This is just literally like the baby blanket that you're giving to your clients. At the end of the day, it has to make sense to you. You have to breathe it, eat it, poop it, sleep it. And I love that you took something and thought, how does this apply to everyone? Because it really is as many problems. You're not just saying, here's 5 smoothie recipes for weight loss. You're saying, hey, I know you're sitting at your desk. I know that your lower back is hurting. I know that maybe your arm, you've got carpal tunnel. You really sat there and dove into that ideal client. So we talked about what didn't work. We talked about the spaghetti that really did start to work. What would you say was that turning point when you said, okay, so now I'm seeing these likes and these comments? What was that next step that you took to turn that interest into really paying clients?
The next step, I remember going back to look through, all the comments and everything. And again, just seeing, the people when they said, oh, this is hurting on me, this is hurting. I'm like, ooh, 12 people said low back pain. Okay, let's create a post on low back pain and see what happens. And I created that post, and then bam, there that went. The appointments were being scheduled. The online program started. I was just like, wow, okay. It took a long time, but eventually, I nailed it, so that's what was really the turning point. And it's just when I went back through my feed and just really started looking what worked and what really did not work.
And that's so freaking simple, man, because my favorite thing, I look at it every day. Your pain is your product. I have it right here. I look at, not only is it our pain, so I think of a lot of coaches who maybe didn't have what we call this like Debbie Downer story. Because I think that's where I hear a lot of coaches say, they might say, well, Micheal, were you in pain? And you're like, no, everyone else is. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I know people struggle with. And then looking at the very comments, you didn't sit there and need to, well, we're going to talk about this in a second, because I've made this mistake. I've hired marketing teams that other entrepreneurs that I watched had talked about, and I invested $3,500 on a great marketing team and really got back nothing. I mean, they were great. They were great teams. It wasn't a diss, seriously, on anybody that I've ever hired. It's that it wasn't necessary, because if I truly sat there and took the time to go back into my comments, to test in different messages and problems, all of that was sitting right in front of me.
Exactly. It was right in front of my face. Same thing, you hire this person, hire that person. And of course, it didn't work out. But when I literally, like you said, just sat down and just scrolled, like everything I needed for my business to be successful was already right there. It was there.
In your posting, because I know many coaches ask me about this, and I remember saying to my husband, we just moved. I don't know how I'm going to find clients, because we'd moved from my hometown where I knew everyone. And we've moved to Boca, where I live now. And I said, I have no idea. I don't know a soul. My kids are young. I can't go to these networking. And I started to use Facebook solely for business. I looked at Facebook. I know this is dating me, but I remember like thinking that Facebook was like MySpace or something. I was like, am I?
My who? What is that?
I was like, what is like Facebook? Like a friend dating thing? And I realized pretty fast that I could use it as a modality for my business. And when I made my personal page a place of empowering and education, did you go, I mean, I always say definitely do a Facebook business page because Google and Facebook have a really great relationship. But did you post this on your personal page and start testing?
Personal page. Yeah, I did the little business stuff, and of course, reach on the business page. And when I started to go in the personal page, you have all these people that you encountered, through whatever.
True, the high school kid, the whatever. Yeah.
That's when everything just started clicking. Like, I'd walk down the street, hey, I saw your video. You make videos, right? I'm like, yeah. They're like, yeah, my friend liked your video and I watched your video and it was cool. And they would walk away and I'm like, I don't know who that was, but they knew who I was.
I love that you say that because funny side story. And then we're going to dive into like the things that we wish we would have known. My husband, who was, and still is not, he would be like, Facebox, what? It's not his jam. It's not that he doesn't want to support me. It's not his jam. He is a total face-to-face person. So he's in the market with my daughter, who is more my like, Mom, I'm going to go on Facebook with you. And this woman walks up and goes, Sammy, oh my God, it's been so great to watch you get big. I loved your painting that you did and went to this whole thing about our life. And my husband was like shell shocked, didn't even know what to say. And she turned, she's like, oh, and you must be hubby. Because at the time, all I referred to him as hubby. And she said, you must be hubby. Your wife, I adore her. I followed her for 4 years. And she literally said in a 2-minute, really sweet, not crazy, weird way, just how enjoyable it is to watch our kids and to be part of our life. And he came home and was like, I met this woman. I don't even know. She has followed you. She buys your programs. And I literally bumped into her at the market. And I think in you even sharing about the videos, sometimes we don't even know who's watching. No. And I think that's the part that I really love that you talked about. It was this consistency to show up, to continue to analyze each month, each week, what was really working, what was not to quit, to be consistent, and to take that very information and turn those into topics, blogs, freebies, courses. So it's really, how do you plan out your profitable business? Test, then invest, then create, then analyze, then tweak, then pivot, then do the same over.
Mm-hmm. It is true. Test, and then invest.
So I always say, test before you invest. And people think that means like test like these huge programs. I'm like, no, test so you see what people want, craft what they want, but give them what you need. Take them down the path you know they really need to go. Doesn't mean, as you said, that you're going to give a detox. But if that was your passion and your core belief, you can still talk about pain, and lead them down the path of detoxification. That's my jam. That's not your jam.
Exactly.
So talk to us even about like some of those things we all wish that we could go back in time and say, I wish I would have done this different. I wish I would have known this.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier, I wish I wouldn't have bought so many stories, all these coaches out there. My client did this. I sold X amount in 2 days and have these high ticket clients. And, in my mind thinking, oh yes, that's going to work for me. I got it. Here's that 10,000 for your program. It's amazing. And halfway through the program, it was like, okay, Facebook ads. I'm like, wait, hold up. I just gave you all my money. Like, I didn't know how to.
I'm poor right now.
Right.
And if there's blood, I'm going to be able to deposit. So I have always said that. I think especially being a solo entrepreneur, and I always say the blessing and the grace was that I didn't have the money to spend. That money was going to Montessori. That money, people would be like, I remember a coach saying to me, if you were really committed, you would put this on a credit card. I was like, girl, I'm straight up max 57,000 already on a credit card. I want to hire you so you tell me how to not waste money and how to do it right. Yeah. So let's even talk about part one that you just even talked, because just like you and I were talking even before, these could really be about 5 different mini podcasts on this. And I think we definitely got to do that, because I really love the clarity and the cohesiveness, plus your experience of trying things at different stages in this digital market, which I think is a huge topic. So let's even first talk about the stories. Have you gotten better at the radar on what to believe, or have you just gotten to a point like many of us where you say, okay, this is what works for them. Who do I need to follow? Like, do you follow people, or do you, for me, sit there and look at like James Wedmore, Amy Portfield. Like I've always, Derek Halpern, I always looked at people who weren't even in the health industry and just was a sponge watching, how did they do a webinar? How did they close? So my funnel hacking was always watching people and opting in and watching their funnels and seeing what really felt right for me.
Right. Yeah, I did the same thing. Doing the following, you just feel like, I feel like a little mini Facebook stalker, seeing what these people are talking about. And then after a while, you did get to notice the BS. You really did. It's like, you sign up for the newsletters and you really start to get to know them. Like, they're kind of full of crap, because I don't hear anybody in this group saying anything about, they're killing it, they're crushing it. Like they send me an email saying, oh, my new client did this, blah, blah, blah. But when you go in a group, it's a silent.
So what you're kind of saying is like, I want to know that you've really done this.
You've really done this. Because I could easily get some money for Facebook ads and be like, oh my God, all my clients have made $100,000 this month. You can do it too.
Yeah. And I think that's the hard part. And I think that's also the beauty and the blessing. I mean, like I always say, what's the silver lining is that we are in a digital craze. When you and I graduated from school, that was a very get out there. Like you have to walk the walk and talk the talk, because the digital space, I mean, we weren't like this. Oh my God, it's my Instagram.
We had our little Blackberries with the ball.
We were like, can I take a picture? Whoa, no, I'm pixelated. No. So I feel like we're actually going back old school. Doesn't mean that we don't hold on to these approaches, but I always look at, who are these people that have sustained? Marie Forleo, Amy Portfield, Gary Vaynerchuk, James Wedmore, Todd Herman. I always say to coaches, there's so much free stuff. There really is at this point. There's so much free stuff that when you say you want to invest, it's because you're investing to learn specifically their promise. I know if I want to make a course, I'm either going to Jenna Sword, or I'm going to go to Amy Portfield, because that's what they do all day, all night. And so I think that's the part that for coaches, especially if they're new or struggling, because I see a lot of coaches, same thing. They've invested a lot and it's the same run right now. And this is about 4 years deep. High ticket, come in, evergreen webinar, boom, pay us $3-4 grand. We're going to create that evergreen webinar funnel. We're going to do Facebook ads. And then what they're not told is $8 to $15 conversion.
Yeah.
So wait, it's like, okay, one, do you know how to coach first? How are you going to do an evergreen webinar if you don't even know your niche? if you haven't even tested, if you don't even have a freebie, if you're not even talking to people, that's where I see this breakdown. And I remember teaching at a high ticket summit years ago and walking out, and I'm already what I call a kind of girl, like, get irritated at that BS. And I walked out and I said, I just talked to 20 people in this room. One girl had a list of 15 people.
There you go.
And I sat there and said, okay, so maybe my back ass way of doing everything that looked so unorganized actually worked, because I did have clients. I did have clients that I saw for years that stayed in my customer life cycle. So what do you feel that you had to pull back and do different?
Getting back to just the, meeting people and seeing people right in front of you, not in front through the computer, just face to face, holding those talks at the grocery store or whatever, just meeting people, randomly out and networking. I found that worked the best. And those, like you said, are my loyal customers. Those are the ones who come see me, bi-weekly, monthly. If I post something, they will buy it. Those are the ones that I felt that stood by my side. The ones where, I ran the Facebook ads, they'll get the freebie, maybe buy something. Because I have two separate lists, my in-person list and the ones, I get from online. And my in-person list, when I send an email, my open rate is ridiculous. Like, it's just, it almost seems like everyone opens it. Because they're like, what's Michael talking about? He's not trying to, sell us nothing, or he genuinely wants to help. I know him. I know this guy. And, my list I got through Facebook or Instagram, or whatever. It's kind of like a very low conversion rate. I might get it. Hey, great post. Hey, I like what you said. That's it. But my in-person one is the one I send a post out. There's appointments being booked. Things are being sold. And I just feel like that was the genuine connection. It was just the face-to-face. And I really had to step back. So I just thought, and that's all I always heard was, you have to do these ads. This is how you get your people. This is how you get your high ticket clients. This is it. This is it. This is it. And I totally just pushed the people to the side who were in my face every day. I was just like, oh no, they're not going to buy anything. Mm-hmm. But they were the one I say, oh yeah, I'm doing this program. It's like 6 months. That sounds interesting. I would like to do that. I'm like, wait, you didn't come through Facebook.
When you face to face, just because I hear coaches say this all the time. Whenever I say I had my one-on-one business, people are like, well, I don't want to see people right next to me. And I always say, it's called Zoom. Or at that time it was, Skype, and then Zoom came in. Are you seeing people? I mean, given you have exercises and it's a little different, everyone's business, but do you also work with people? I mean, you and I were just talking about this. I guess you do, because we said you're US clients. So when you say one-on-one in front of you, you're meaning worldwide clients, wherever they are in your one-on-one business, versus an online group, correct?
Yeah, it was me. Yeah, I run a hybrid business. I have, the people who come see me at my physical office, here in Bangkok. And I also have, my clients, abroad. I have clients in, California, Canada, just kind of all over. And, we have these wonderful Zooms and Skypes, and we have everything for everyone to be in contact nowadays. And that's why that's one thing I love about this, just what we're doing. We can help anybody,
everyone. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I'm so happy that you just dove into that, because I always say to coaches, the way I use the same word, hybrid, mm-hmm. The way that I use the internet was to bring people to work with me one-on-one. Because gut and detox, I did groups, but if we're really diving deep, that to me is a one-on-one experience.
One-on-one is the best.
And that's just for me. It's the transference. It's the deep. It's the trauma work. It's the shadow work. It's the old stories. It's all that. That's why I became a coach. And I think a lot of coaches think, this is why you and I were even laughing about this earlier. They think, oh, I'm going to go build it. I'm going to do a group. And I always say, yeah, there are a lot of pieces in launching a group, keeping a group up, keeping a Facebook group up. Doesn't mean, and I always say, be willing to abandon what really doesn't work. Be willing to abandon like this fantasy, just like be willing to abandon this like story maybe that you're holding on to that's keeping you sick physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So do you feel like you had to do that?
Yeah, you definitely do. Like I said, I'm all about the one-to-one. Like I feel for me that just works the best. You know, I've done the groups, I've done the classes, and like I said, this is where you like can dive in deep with your client. And this is when breakthroughs happen. You know, they might not want to spill it out when you have a bunch of people around. You know, but when you're one-on-one, face-to-face, there it goes. Like I've had people, you know, break down. You know, they might come in with a shoulder injury, but you know, sometimes it's a little deeper. You know, we keep our issues in our tissues, and you know.
And you're a wordsmith. I'm like, oh, snap again.
Right.
So really, and I was like, wait, Rach, you literally just lost your train of thought and went on to another thing because this combo is literally so freaking amazing. Really, the hybrid is very similar to both you and I. We used our Facebook page. And of course, to build authority, to educate, to give knowledge, to give free content, building that trust so that nobody feels that douchey BS marketing. And it's not that you can't do that online. You're doing that online and bringing people to your one-on-one business, whether it's face-to-face or online, correct?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's just how it works. I just found like if I was working with someone face to face for a while, and then, you know, like I said, I live here in Bangkok. People are constantly coming and going, moving around the world. And they were like, well, I want to continue this. You know, do you have like something I can do online? I'm like, yes, I do. And it was just naturally, just went like that. It was just such an easy sale. It was just like nothing. Like, okay, it's X amount a month. And, oh, sure, that's fine.
Well, and I think that's the beauty. When people always say to me, what's a great funnel? I would say a funnel happens intuitively. A funnel happens organically. I didn't sit there and go, how am I going to build my business? And go, I should have a do-it-yourself. No one talked about that. It was just after the pain of listening to people who couldn't even afford my 150, I forget what I was told at IN, something like 150 a month. I think it was a month, literally. People couldn't even afford it. And I started saying after I would hear like moms crying and babies crying and just all my stories or all of just the empathy of the pain of the world. I sat there and I was like, okay, so if they can't afford me, what other opportunity? And I love that we go back in full circle, even in this conversation, to looking at those comments. Instead of building a business that you wanted and that you were sold to with all different stories of different people, you really sat there and was like, Micheal, what is soul saying? Like, what is really right for the people I serve and the comments, and how can I really show up and meet people where they are and then build another opportunity if that comes?
You know, they said Soul was telling me this for a while to like, you need to be in person and online. And it was telling me for the longest time, but I was like, no, online. I have to be online. I want this dream life of this, and that. Where I said, I have a great life, don't get me wrong, but it was just like, everything was like, you have to be online to be successful. And, you know, like I said, one of the things, if I knew then what I know now, I think I would have been, you know, where I'm at now, a little further back. It would have been a little quicker, but I just totally just anything in person. I was just like, no, I'm not doing anything in person. This is about being online. This is where it's at. You just need your laptop and that's it. But that was not for me. It just was not for me. And it's not for most people. I was to really build yourself up. It's not just, you just like that. It's and you're rolling in the dough. No, there's hard work. There's a lot of BS. There's a lot of, you know, systems that fail and audio that doesn't work. You know?
I think the beauty of you is you so genuinely do show up. Those videos, when I think of that first video, I remember you posting that in the group and saying, guys, this is what I'm doing. This is what's working. I do feel that when we show up genuinely, and we stop thinking that something else is going to work. I once had a guy tell me, he's like, you know nothing about marketing. You know nothing about digital marketing. And at first it upset me because I thought, do I not? Because I always listen to feedback and I do take it to heart because I'm human and I see things sometimes through like my own pair of glasses, and, you know, we all have our work in life. I actually wrote back to him and I said, no, actually, you're right. I don't, because I built my business from the ground up. I didn't build it with a team. I created 7 Wix websites on sales pages because I couldn't even figure out how to make a page on a website. I said, what I did right is I built connection offline. I showed up because everyone's like, you always give stuff away for free. I'm like, how do people trust you? I sat there and I would always say, if I could go back in time, what would I have wanted to say to my mom when the doctor told me I had an ulcer? What would I have wanted to say to myself when I was depressed and sad and felt that I couldn't tell anyone? Like, I always thought of these different conversations with humans, not about a funnel. What are people struggling with in the world? I think that so often we overcomplicate how broken we are. And if we just stood back and said, soul, my first coach used to say to me, Cora Poage, I would say, Cora, what am I going to do? And she was like, I don't know. I usually just say, Spirit, Soul, Mother Earth, what should Cora say today on Facebook? And she was like, we're always directed when we're really not thinking about the money, the this, the but. It doesn't mean we don't do things strategically and smart, because I think that's the big turning point in business is when we come out of that hustle mode, because it is hard. I think that's the story that nobody tells. It's like when people go, oh my God, Rach, you work so hard. It's like, what do you think it takes to build your business when you don't have a team? What do you think? You're sitting there and you're like this. You're like, oh, I just posted once and people are going to buy something. No, that's 6 weeks of posting, 6 weeks of drilling, 6 weeks of pivoting. That, you know what I mean? I mean, we can
every day, every single day.
And we can dive into this, guys, I will say, because clearly we'll get into another episode, Michael, because I desperately, and I will beg you, please, Michael, come back and do another podcast, because this was so clear and concise, because I know that I know you've been there, done that. And the value that you gave, and I would say not only do you show up genuinely, but it is consistently. And that's what I feel coaches don't. They quit because they have fallen prey to like, do this, and this is going to be easy, and ClickFunnels is this, and Kajabi's wonderful. But it's like,
I got 2 likes, so therefore I can't do it anymore. You know, I'm like, no. There's been a lot of times I post something, no one says anything, but everyone has seen it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Because
I always tell people, I find out that the posts that don't get the most interaction are typically the most kind of successful posts that, you know, people will contact you over. I don't know what's up with that. It just is what it is.
It's just human behavior. And I think you even said it, is when we're really hitting on a core deep topic, most often somebody's not going to comment under, oh, Rachel, in that video, you were talking about yeast infections and urinary tract infections that used to get, hey, can you tell me? Right. Like, what's your video? It's like, that's the personal message. You're like, whenever I share something and I feel like, oh, what if I share this? I mean, I'm the detox girl. I'm the gut, and I'm sharing about an autoimmune flare. The moment I say, Rachel, but what if you don't? What about the person who's struggling? That's the post, as you said. That's the post that I get 14 personal messages. Thank you so much for sharing. I've been struggling with this. I don't want to tell anyone. It's like, wow, like that is the sickness that we're all bred. That's why coaches are so imperative, because it's just like you said, like the pain in our tissues, all your fabulous words today. So guys, without us going, no joke, because Michael's in Bangkok and it's like almost in the middle of the morning because he does work worldwide. Michael, tell us just your biggest takeaway that coaches, we talked about a awesome, awesome stuff today. Stuff that hands down, I wish somebody would have said, here's the book. You're about to get thrown with a bunch of bullshit.
Right.
Here's the book to defunk your mind. What would be that thing you want to say to coaches?
I would say definitely talk to the people who are in front of you. Most importantly, those are the ones who are going to really listen to that message and, are inspired by that message. And they are the ones who will probably tell somebody else about your message. So it doesn't always have to be online. Just think in person can convert to online.
Oh, true. 100%. I'm so with you. I'm so grateful. And I did say this to you before we recorded. I think I've said that 6 times as I've counted, is that my biggest suggestion always for coaches is if they are struggling, whether it's pain, support, to hire a coach.
Yes.
So please tell coaches where they can find it, because not just hire a business coach, get healthy, learn what it's like to be coached, because as you said, this isn't just about a freebie or this, it's about seeing how to meet people where they are and be of support. So tell coaches how they can hire you.
I want you guys to all check me out on Instagram. This is where it all goes down. It's Instagram, and it's at Mike Jones Today. Follow me, check out my Insta stories. I'm always posting things to keep you healthy, keep you motivated, and just really just helping you, get your body back into balance. So I would always say, hit me up on Instagram. I'm there.
As I sit with complete full posture at my desk. But thank you so much for your honesty and just even the work that you're doing.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And that, like I said, I want to say thank you to you for being one of those few genuine coaches and people out there that really genuinely want to help and want to see you succeed in business. They may not hire you or whatever, but you're just always there. That's one thing I noticed about you. We've talked before, and it's just, you were always just there. You would answer a question, and I just felt genuinely just a connection with you. Like, wow, I know her, but I don't know her, but I feel like she's amazing.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I don't think of myself even as a business coach. I am straight up just a woman who is really irritated by a lack of power and knowledge that is ripped from us because people are fearful in my own life. And that's what I said, like, meaning I know what it's like to be fear-based, and I know how I act, and it's not the person I like to be. And the reason I became a coach was to help people get that power back.
Yeah.
Put it back in their hands, not to say, do this, but to say, what if I taught you this? What if I taught you everything that somebody ripped away, or you gave your power away, or whatever? Because we all have those stories. We all have stuff that's happened to us on a level 1 to 10. And that's why I feel like this journey with us is so sacred. And it's just a human to a human, a coach to a coach.
That's it.
So guys, make sure you follow Micheal. Seriously, especially if you are struggling with your health. I can't tell you how many of you guys I've seen in forums, like, you've got pain, you're just struggling, all that. There are solutions. Get the solution for yourself, then pay it forward. All right, guys, stay tuned for the next one. Make sure you follow this amazing man. I'll see you guys later.